What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Mile High Hockey. Yes, coming at you on a Monday because it's playoffs, baby. We're going to do this show 5 days a week. Going to be joined by my guy, Drew Spivak, who you saw during the regular season, Mike Evans as well. But I'll be here all 5 days because the Avalanche are now the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Yes, you heard that correctly. The odds makers have the Avs as the top dogs to win the whole thing. And Drew, man, let's get into game one and let's talk about game two. But we'll start with game one because it does feel to me like the Avalanche have a chance to put a stranglehold on this series tonight based on everything we saw in game one.
I think if you were trying to paint the picture for game one, you couldn't have asked for a better script for how it played out for the Avalanche, because all the question marks going into this thing is like, all right, what's Mackenzie Blackwood going to look like? First playoff game, we got to see it. Mackenzie Blackwood was phenomenal in that game on Saturday night. Came up big for the Avs in every single way, and it gives you a ton of confidence going forward that he can be a dominant goaltender. Because I thought going into this, like, okay, does he have to be great for the Avalanche to win this series? No, probably not. Does he just have to be good, maybe 2 goals or less a game? That's probably, I think, what the bar I had for Mackenzie Blackwood going into this thing. And he was that and so much more. And I think when you look at the Avs, like forward-wise, the top line was dominant. Nathan MacKinnon, Marty Necas, Arturi Lehkonen. Lehkonen's goal was so ridiculous. He couldn't do that again if he tried. No. By the way, it was awesome to see that. But those guys dominated the game. The Avs' fourth line was fantastic. I watched that game and I got shades of 2022 all over again going, this is a team that can win a Stanley Cup. This is a team that can go out and dominate Dallas. And you're looking at this from a Stars perspective. I mean, Dallas came into this thing having lost 8 games in a row. And it showed in that game. Because honestly, I came away from it going, Dallas has nothing for Colorado. The way this lineup is constructed, with the injuries they're dealing with, they don't have enough firepower, at least if they play like they did in game one, they don't have enough firepower to keep up with the Avalanche in this series because the Avs are faster, they're better, they're more in tune with what's going on with the game, like they're structured better. Just everything about this Avalanche team, to me, looks like they are a much better team than Dallas right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned Blackwood because I think that's where we have to start. It's like, oh, the Avalanche finally have a goalie.
Yes.
And Pete DeBoer even said it in his post-game presser, like, hey, they're deeper than they were last year, and they have Blackwood. You know, we were used to Georgiev, remember game one in Winnipeg last year, and God bless Darcy Kemper and Pavel Francouz, but they were both middle-of-the-road type guys when the Avs won the Cup. Blackwood stole that game because you mentioned the sequence. It's 0-0 midway through the second period. And he makes 3 fantastic saves on a power play from the Stars and then shortly after that. And then what happens? The Avs go the other way, and Arturi Lehkonen scores this insane goal where he's falling over. The puck goes off his skate. I was like, they're going to call this a kicking motion, aren't they? And luckily, they didn't. But if Georgiev's in net, they're down 2-0.
Yeah.
If Francouz, Kemper's in net, they're down 2-0. Like, that's just the facts. Now that the Avalanche have a goalie, yeah, I know the final score was 5-1, but that game was closer than 5-1 in the sense of 3 of those goals came pretty late. I think, like, yeah, why not dream big? Why not think 15 more wins? And why not think, hey, win tonight? And I'm not saying we take our brooms to Ball Arena, but I'm not saying we don't either.
Well, if you're Dallas, how do you go into this? If you lose game 2, you're now riding a 9-game losing streak. You've been a pretty mediocre to bad hockey team really since the Four Nations face-off wrapped up. How much confidence are you going to have being able to go into Ball Arena and have to win? You got to play 3 games in Denver. How are you going to go out and win all of those, like knowing that the Avalanche have a 2-0 lead in this series? It's almost an impossibility for them to come back and do that. So, yeah, the Avs definitely have an opportunity to go out tonight and put a stranglehold on this series. But if they can do the same things, I think, defensively, they did, because it's kind of weird. Like, I felt like the stats were a little bit like deceiving because Dallas had a ton of high danger chances in this game. But it felt like that's all they had. Like, they didn't have just kind of regular chances. I think I saw a stat this morning where Mackenzie Blackwood faced the most high danger chances of any goaltender in game 1 so far in this playoffs, and he stopped all of them. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, Dallas at 5-on-5 only generated 13 shots on goal. Like, if the Avalanche play like that, you're not beating this team. You're just not. The Avalanche were able to do things that they took advantage of Dallas kind of being a little bit overly aggressive in the offensive zone. They had a ton of transition rushes back the other way that generated goals. Just everything the Avalanche did was right. And then when you can count on a goaltender that can make the timely saves, and yes, some of them are lucky, but guess what? That's what happens. That's what you need in a hockey game. That one that I think hit off of his hip.
Yeah.
Really had no business making that save, but he was just it was great positioning. He was in the right place at the right time, kept the puck out of the net. So I just look at Blackwood and say, you know what? I didn't have a ton of reservations about him going into this playoff. And after watching game one, I was like, you know what? We're fine with him in goal. They're going to be just fine with him.
Yeah, no, I felt the same way. And it was just so refreshing, like I said, to have a goaltender. And then you look at one of the other elements of this is the Avs did finally get a little bit of puck luck after a regular season where it felt like they didn't have much at all. The Lehkonen goal, there was some puck luck. The MacKinnon first goal, there was some puck luck. Like, that was just a feel-good thing of like, oh, this can even out. I'm not saying they won because of puck luck, but it finally went their way, and even a review went their way, and that goal didn't get overturned. And then the third goal, Drew, before we get on to game two and previewing it a little more, I mean, what an unbelievable pass by Josh Manson. And Devon Toews, you never see a defender that deep, but he and Cale Makar both have the go-ahead from Jared Bednar. Hey, you guys are offensive players. If you have a good window, go ahead and take it. I mean, that third goal, Dallas had made it 2-1. Blackwood didn't have a stick, so that felt kind of fluky.
Right.
But all of a sudden, you're thinking, man, the Avs have been the better team, and if this thing goes 2-2, one bad bounce in overtime, and you're down 1-0, that third goal from Manson the Toews, I mean, just absolutely gorgeous, and it took all the wind out of that building, and you knew from that point on the Avalanche were going to win.
And it's cool to see that because that comes from defensemen. Like, if it was Nathan MacKinnon to Arturi Lehkonen, you'd be like, oh, well, that's just kind of what these guys do. But to see Josh Manson step up, deliver a beautiful pass to Devon Toews, who's crashing the net, it's another sign of like what this Avalanche team can do when they're firing on all cylinders. And you see that the defensemen, all these guys like to jump up in the rush. You see it obviously from Toews and Makar. You see it from Manson. You see it from Girard. All these guys have the ability to jump up in the rush and be, I don't want to say deadly offensively, but to be really good offensively. And it was cool too because for Josh Manson, it was kind of like a redeeming moment because I thought Josh Manson had a good game, not a great game, but a good game. And then he took a couple of penalties. Obviously, the one on Mason Marchment with one of the bigger flops in the world.
That guy stinks.
Come
27
on.
From the Stars.
Yeah,
He's a clown.
And I love the fact that they called it interference too. It's like, well, the puck was right there.
Right.
He was playing the puck. How was that interference? It was
What
just
are
like,
we interfering with?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you were just looking to make a call, just to kind of make a call in that sequence because Marchman did such a good job of flopping. But listen, I think you watch the way that the D pairs were with Toews and Makar. They were fantastic. I love the second pairing of Lindgren and Manson together. The third pairing, I'm not totally sure about EJ. In that third pairing, I kind of would like to see Sam Malinsky out there with Sam Girard. But listen, these are champagne problems for a team that looks really good right now. And I think tonight is going to go a long way in determining who ends up winning the series.
Yeah, shout out to our friends at Mountain High Appliance for sponsoring the Mile High Hockey Podcast. Let's talk about tonight, Drew, because there is news from Morning Skate. Ross Colton, quote, feels not great from Jared Bednar, which you're not going to get a lot from hockey coaches in the playoffs, but I think it's pretty clear that Ross Colton will not play tonight. Gabriel Landeskog, who didn't play in Game 1, exits the ice early. Now, if you're newer to hockey, if you leave the ice early after morning skate, that generally means you're going to play. The only wrinkle in this, we didn't see Miles Wood at all, so you could have Wood in for Colton, but Drew, I think everything is pointing towards Gabriel Landeskog after nearly 3 years makes his NHL return tonight in Dallas.
And we all thought it was going to be Game 3, right? That was the rumor that going into this thing was like, hey, the Avs aren't going to have him ready for Game 1, probably not Game 2. It looks like Game 3 for their first home game at Ball Arena is when we're going to see Gabe. I'm with you. I think we're looking at a situation now where Gabe Landeskog takes Ross Colton's place on that third line. And I'm more excited about it than I thought I would be because the fact, like, going into this playoff, I said, all right, you're going to tell me that after 3 years off, Gabe Landeskog is in a better spot than Joel Kiviranta right now? I would say no. Is he in a better spot than Ross Colton right now? He might be. Ross Colton's been good, but not great. So if you're replacing a guy like Ross Colton in the lineup with a captain that has won a Stanley Cup, that you're going to look, maybe 10, 12 minutes tonight, probably at the most. I like that situation for Gabe Landeskog, putting him in there. And not to mention the fact that if you do it at home, there's going to be kind of an expectation from the crowd because that place
there's
is
a pressure.
There's a pressure.
Unnecessary
exactly.
pressure. Yes.
You're doing it on the road. You're already up 1-0 in the series. It's almost a situation where you kind of don't really have a ton to lose by putting him in that situation, especially from a third line that was just kind of the other night.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just put him in tonight, it's out of more necessity than anything else, and that's fine because Jared Bednar told us a couple days ago that Gabe Landeskog is, quote, an option in this series. Well, guess what? He's an option that you now need to punch up, and I think it's an option that the Avs will probably use this evening. All right, real quick, let's finish it up. Predictions, Game 2. I think the Avs win because I think they're just a better team. I think Dallas is going to be desperate, but I think the Avalanche are better. Give me Colorado 3-2 tonight, Drew. What do you think?
Yeah, you're going to get Dallas's best shot tonight. No question about it, because they know that they can't go down in this series 2-0. They can start, you get on a 9-game losing streak. We already talked about all that stuff. But I agree. I think Colorado's going to come out tonight. I think you're going to see a better performance from the second line. You're going to see more from Val Nichushkin. You're going to see more from Brock Nelson tonight. I think the Avs win this one 4-1 tonight. I don't think it's going to be all that particularly close.
I love it. That would be so much fun. And I will be back tomorrow with Mike Evans talking all about it. And again, Mile High Hockey now 5 days a week for the rest of the playoffs. Hopefully the next 2.5 months and culminating in a parade. We will see you in 24 hours.